Okay, welcome back everybody. We're going to look at part 3 of this PowerPoint series on our 2.5-inch hose operations in high-rise buildings, and we'll be working on mostly nozzle handling techniques throughout this PowerPoint. Our objectives are to identify and demonstrate various nozzle handling techniques for the 2.5-inch hose and to look over a few of the frequently asked questions throughout the course given in Area 2 on the A shift. Two and a half inch hose with 1.25 inch tip is designed to flow high volume at low pressure. Excessive pressures can quickly lead to a failed operation. We're trying to get 50 psi nozzle pressure for a smoothbore nozzle, and even pressures down around 35 or 40 psi can still provide a very effective stream. We did one flow down to 30 psi on this 1.25 inch tip, and it still produced north of 250 gallons a minute. One thing you need to be aware of is your nozzle reaction, and these are some of the things we'll try to identify some handling techniques to reduce this nozzle reaction on an engine company. Nozzle handling techniques described are designed for the firefighter to use his and her entire skeletal system rather than small muscle groups to handle the line. Additionally, the methods are designed to transfer the energy of the line to the ground and help combat nozzle reaction. Regardless of any technique that you use, it's important to keep the nozzle well out in front of the firefighter. I recommend the pistol grip not even be utilized whenever you're using this particular nozzle. That pistol grip can be used to hang over a railing or to use it to pull the hose as you're advancing it down a hallway, but you really need to get a good 2 feet or so out in front of you with this nozzle to be able to handle it. Important numbers to remember is 50 psi nozzle pressure, and friction loss in the stretch is approximately 20 psi per 100 feet of hose. Let's look at this method 1. We'll just call it the shoulder strap method. Take a piece of webbing that you might have that I believe some of the BCs might be able to hand these out. They used to at one time. Everybody should keep one in their pocket. If not, you might want to put 2-3 straps in your standpipe bag. Tie a girth hitch about 6 feet back from the nozzle. If you would, you'll go ahead and turn away from the nozzle and place that loop over your inside shoulder with your back to the nozzle. Then after you put that strap over your inside shoulder, do a complete about face and 180 turn, and that locks that strap in on your shoulder. Again, if you'll notice that the nozzle is well out in front of the firefighter, we'll recommend that you do not utilize the pistol grip for this. If you can try to get that hose anchored to your hip, it would be better to absorb that nozzle reaction. Backup firefighter, do whatever you can to deliver that line to the ground if you can, or this particular illustration shows another firefighter with a shoulder strap on. We'll look at method 2 here. We'll call it the clamping method. Note that the nozzle remains well out in front of the firefighter, just close enough to shut the nozzle off if necessary. The firefighter's back leg is clamped over the hose in a manner that uses the firefighter's weight to transfer the energy of the line to the ground. Everything that we do on any of these methods, we're going to try to deliver this nozzle reaction to the ground. Method 2, furthermore on this, backup firefighter, going to be in the same position here. Again, each and every one of these evolutions of nozzle handling techniques, that backup firefighter, if and when they can, just anchor that line to the ground. That's the best thing they can do to assist the nozzle man. Let's look at a method 3. It's kind of a nozzle forward type technique. Again, as all of these, the nozzle is well out in front of the firefighter and just close enough to shut the nozzle off if necessary. Your backup firefighter is using his or her weight to transfer the energy of the line to the ground. And if you'll notice, the nozzle firefighter has got a knee up in this particular position. The hose is anchored inside the hip area, and that elbow is on the inside of that thigh. Try to shift your momentum as much forward as possible. Let's look at some FAQs been asked throughout the course. And why are we going with the 2.5 inch hose and not the rapid attack pack or any other type of 1 3/4 hose? The 2.5 inch hose is designed to flow large volumes of water at low pressures. We have several PRVs in Dallas that might have lower than 65 psi out of an outlet. That produces, with that type of pressure in a PRV, you can still get an acceptable flow in gallons per minute out of the 2.5-inch hose. Should this method of packing the hose be utilized department-wide on all 3 shifts? That's exactly what we're shifting to, and we're going to be utilizing the Denver hose load, and it has been adopted department-wide as a standard method for packing the high-rise hose packs. Standardization of the hose packs will facilitate merging lines between different companies should that be necessary. You'll have 2 companies come up with 3 sections of hose apiece, and you're going to have to merge your lines together. I'm not saying you're going to put 6 sections of hose in service for that particular fire tack, but it's having everybody on the same page whenever you show up to floor below the fire, and having your hose packs in the same manner will make for a better operation. Discharge pressures on the engine and or the standpipe will fluctuate greatly. Everybody needs to be aware of all the pressures needed. For example, if you're going to use 3 lines, 150 feet, you want to try to get 80 psi going on your pressure gauge, and that's with the water flowing. If you're pumping from the outside into the building, you might just be pumping to the roof. If it's PRVs, whatever you're doing, you need to make sure all your pressures are set with water flowing. There's going to be many times as you shut the nozzle off, your pressures will jump up greatly. As you open up the nozzle, it's going to come back down wherever you set your line. Especially if you're the standpipe operator, after you get the water flowing, prior to going down the hallway, go ahead and set it at 80 with water flowing, then let that engine company go ahead and shut their line off. Then leave it alone after that. You can go and facilitate helping move lines from below around the standpipe, but just kind of stay in communication with your officer or your company if they need to increase the pressure or shut the line down. It's going to be critical that the standpipe operator be aware of the pressures needed based on the length of the stretch. Excessive or improper operating pressures are the heart of almost every failed operation with 2.5-inch hose. Too much pressure will greatly affect the personnel at the nozzle and make the line nearly impossible to handle. Don't just open up that valve all the way and walk away. It's going to be needed to adjust the pressures, whatever you have. Use that cheat sheet on that pressure gauge to get your company whatever kind of pressures they need. But to give someone that's flowing 3 sections of hose 150 pounds of pressure, you would park them against the back wall and they wouldn't be able to utilize operating that line. So be aware of that is a problem. Let's be all on the same page with that. Other duties your standpipe operator, he or she can be doing after the line is flowing, just remember that person inside the building is pretty much your driver. He's going to assure that you got the correct pressures. After you did that, go around and make sure all your hose is stretched out, help facilitate moving it down the hallway from the floor below, bringing it up the stairwell. Just stay in communication, kind of stay in that range just like a driver would. Increase the pressures or adjust the pressures, whatever's needed throughout that operation. Is this a change to the procedures for our high-rise operations? No, it's just a good familiarization for all the people involved, and that knowing that we need to train on this more and more. This will probably end up being a part of our company evolutions throughout the future. How many sections do we start with for the attack line? It all depends. Most of the times we recommend it's all be part of your size up. Even pre-fire planning, utilizing digital sandbox. If you got a building that you know you need to start with 4 or 5 sections on a particular fire floor, you might notate that in your digital sandbox. But most of the time you'll get off, go up and see what you got, try to see how many rooms deep that particular fire is, come down and formulate a plan after all your attack team is together. You're not going to use, if you got 2 companies coming up with a total of 6 sections of hose, you're probably not going to use 6 sections for that operation. Just go up and see what you need, stage the rest of your equipment off to the side. What do we do with this large 2.5-inch gated valve that's in our standpipe kit? Whenever that was handed out, that was a confusion where that is to be utilized. It's really meant to go in your plug kit. It, on and off valve that's a lot of weight is not meant for our standpipe bags. It was just pushed out at the same time we received some of our other 2.5-inch hose pack type kits. Just more weight, put it in your plug kit. Do we have to carry the hose over SCBA? No, just use whatever's best for your company. That one particular method over your SCBA is just a recommended method to free up your hands. Use whatever's best for your company. At the conclusion of this PowerPoint presentation, I would like to invite you to go to the Dallas Fire Rescue training portion that's on YouTube, and there you can view the different nozzle handling techniques for the 2.5-inch hose. We also will have this on the IDS under the training tab, and then go to high rise. Thank you for your time, and I hope that everyone stays safe throughout your training. Thank you again.